Said Fred. Fucking music. What is going on,
Good
people?
morning.
We are here.
Yes.
Good morning. Saturday morning. Jennifer's taking a walk down the stream in the forest over there. What's going on, Jen?
Well, this is my background. So this is usually behind me, but it's covered up with a bunch of sticky notes. So we'll talk about why it doesn't have sticky notes on it right now, but it probably will eventually.
Love it. Love it. So, man, we got a bunch of people in the comments already. We got Miss Janet. Good morning, Janet. How are you? How is you? Buddy. Oh, man, Buddy's just the awesomest.
Yes.
He's ready to go in Dallas. You know, are we getting spoiled? Like, people are already commenting in the chat before we actually go.
Before we even ask them anything.
That's just the coolest. Love y'all. Then we got Miss Amy. She says, morning from Durham, North Carolina. Amy Campbell.
Yep.
And my buddy, the originator of the term pocket friends, Pedro Maciel.
Nice.
Y'all got to check him out. He's got a podcast, The X Factor of Safety. He's got a radio show. What's up, my man, Pedro?
Whoop.
And then we got, if y'all haven't seen it, I posted yesterday or last night, Steve Martin, the marketeer.
The chief marketeer. You got to make sure it's chief because he's probably going to have some like other people helping him eventually. So we figured we need to go ahead and just give him that title. He's the chief marketeer. So
yes. So he posted or he took pictures, clips out of our pop-up. We did a pop-up yesterday morning. He took some clips and kind of put them on coffee mugs. It's the awesomest. Steve, thank you, brother. Thank you for doing that. And then Amy says, Steve Martin, I'm ready to go as well, but I'm missing the fancy J&J coffee mug. Mm-hmm. Those things are like limited edition, right? Like they're fancy stuff.
With all of our faces, we could probably have like a whole line of them.
Yes, totally. Man, we got some people already. We got Dr. M. Hi, sunset time in India, so it's evening time for him. Thank you for always joining us.
And he just got through talking with Steve Martin, so he's going to be on his podcast.
Is that like the coolest? They connected.
Yes.
And further connected, and they are going to further connect to continue contributing. Special place to be, y'all. Man, we got them flooding in. And don't forget, we got DJ Hootie Hoo in the background.
Yes, we do.
Clicking all the buttons. You can't see him. He's hiding, and that's okay. So that means, y'all, that I don't have an excuse. Well, I'll still come up with one. Hopefully, I'll have internet issues like I did yesterday.
No. Like it froze like every 5 seconds. I'm like, Jess, we're about to go live. Like you can't just disappear. So
look, I'm getting extra love from Will. What's up, Will? He says Jesse t-shirts are going to be the most popular item on the internet. Yes. And they will be fishnet style t-shirts.
No, they will not.
No, look, have you seen my bring back the trades?
And you have it on your, look at you.
Yeah, sporting that bring back the trade swag, baby. We're going to be live streaming Wednesday evening, celebrating some other amazing people that are out there, sending the message about the amazingness that is in the trades.
And we got Jeremy Atkinson is on. I see his. So
Jeremy, how does that name sound familiar, Jennifer?
So because we actually have an event on Friday, correct?
Thursday or Friday?
Thursday. It's Thursday. Wait, the 22nd. When is that?
This week.
Okay, I think it's the 22nd. He's gonna get mad. He'll probably put it in the chat. But anyway, yes. Share the link, Jeremy, so everyone knows. But Jesse and I got asked to co-host, MC, facilitate, organize, I don't even know, but an event for the New Orleans COP and the DFW COP for LCI, and we are actually going to co-facilitate a superintendent panel talking about lean, and that is I believe it's whatever morning he says. It's like early in the morning, like 8:30 to 10, and so we're super excited about that.
Super excited. And word is there's going to be a little sprinkle of the SAT COP in that conversation.
Ooh.
because I will be there. San
And
Antonio in the music.
Antonio will be there as well. Absolutely. And it's already like blowing up, like more than even they expected. Like I think they're almost at 200 people that have already pre-registered. So it's like awesome.
That is what it's all about. We got Miss Sarah Strand up in Minnesota saying, good morning. Sarah, I'm wearing this hoodie just for you, even though it's 80 degrees, clear blue skies here in San Antonio. Because when I left Minnesota Thursday, it was not 80 degrees and it was not clear blue sky. It was cold, snow was coming. So I hope you might be able to take advantage of the snow, Sarah, in the Easter egg hunt. Like, don't color your eggs and just put them in the snow. They'll never find them. That's not nice, but I had to do that. Oh man, so Jen, we got some stuff. Oh, here we go. Here's the link. Adam, thank you. There's a link to the lean construction, the COP conversation. It's in YouTube right now. We'll figure out how to get it into LinkedIn. Not a problem. We'll make that happen. We got George Hunt says, good morning. What's going on, George? Another COP leader there. We got
Will and Amy are they're planning stuff. They got stuff ready for.
Yes.
We got stuff coming.
NYC in the house. My goodness. We got, okay, I'm going to go through these and then we're going to kind of get on track here. So we got Miss Amy Olmedo. Amy. Yes. So Amy does a Monday post and they're very thoughtful. Like for me, I got to read them and then like let them percolate and then digest them because she's an eloquent writer and she captures really great ideas in them. So y'all connect with her in the NoBS group thing that we have. And if you're not in it, we might talk about that later. But also take from her and also give back. She's got some good stuff out there.
Yes.
You know this person, Jen?
I do. Yes. Good morning, Rachel.
Miss Rachel. And then we got Dana person. Like Dana, thank you. She came in, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago, and she's been a faithful follower or contributor. Because we don't have followers, we have contributors.
We do.
I'm gonna have to talk to LinkedIn to make sure they get that fixed. Pedro, again, I think Pedro just moved. He's in Dallas somewhere.
What? I need to meet Pedro.
Oh, you got to meet. Yeah, he's close to you, I think.
Yes.
We'll do that. We're gonna have the No BS roundup some point. So y'all out there, thank you for saying good morning. Share your wins with us. I mean, that's one thing that it is a rare time that I actually share my wins. Jennifer and Adam are helping me build that habit. And it's kind of uncomfortable for me. You know, I have this, whatever my upbringing is and weird things that say like, yeah, just tamp that down, play small. But what I'm discovering is the more I share my wins, people can be motivated by that. I can show others that, hey man, what is possible. And so what would like for y'all to do is also share your wins. A small win, like small wins, like my good friend Adam calls them small J's, right? Like just little bitty improvements. So small wins, we need to celebrate them and build that habit so that we can continue being an example for the rest of the people that we're influencing that we may not even know are being moved by our triumphs and our learnings, etc. So Jen,
Jesse, before as they're adding stuff, because we want to do that, we had a pretty big week this week, like both of us. Significant things have happened to us.
Yeah.
So what's going on with you?
Well, I gained 2 extra pounds. Got a haircut. Can you tell?
I do. A little bit more gray, but yeah.
I got the Jess for Men working salt and pepper here, trying to achieve some level of maturity with the gray hair. And I'm going to be a little cryptic with this one. So I have made a significant move, a shift, a life change, a shift that I will absolutely be announcing in greater detail after maybe the next couple of weeks. I guess bottom line, what you will see here in the next 2 weeks is maybe more of my content and more celebrating and supporting and interacting with people via social media. And after those 2 weeks, we're going to be coming out big, baby. We gonna be coming out. What do you think, Jen?
Yes, that's awesome. No, and then again, before I share my win, actually, yeah, I got to give love to Buddy, and I know he's out there, and I know he's not gonna he doesn't receive well because he just does it, and we're gonna talk about that today in our secret sauce and all of the things that happen in our lives and those people that are in our lives and stuff. But this week was huge for me because in December my house flooded, and it like flooded like the house. And so we got displaced the week before Christmas and put in a rental house. And for the last 4 months, my house has been getting renovated and fixed. And so this week we moved back in. So that is huge for us. And Buddy he just showed up, and he just has been amazing. And all I can compare it to is it's like my dad was here taking care of me. And so those of you that have watched and seen, I mean, my dad's been gone for 20 years, and Buddy has just been that person, and he has just made sure every little thing has been taken care of. So thank you, Buddy, so much.
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you. Yes. And so this is like the first No BS with Jen and Jess
in my house.
Yes.
Yes.
So everybody, welcome to the Jennifer Lacey residence.
Yes. So huge.
Beautiful. So we do have some wins in the comments. Miss we got some link stuff. So Miss Amy says, Jenks, thanks to a suggestion from here, I now have an A for awesome folder in her work email to save the positive ones that help build data on us. Yeah, especially in those stinky times, right? Let me just go read my win box. It makes a big difference. Will Sullivan says, yep, exactly. Sharing wins is important so others see real people. Oh man, like for real people achieving real things. Like that's it, man. Thank you, Will. Buddy comes back at you and he says, Jennifer, the allergy meds are not working. Buddy, we love you, man. Like you do really amazing things. There's the support. Will celebrating our buddy. And then we got Miss Yvonne Gonzalez, who I know. I went to high school.
I don't know her. Yes.
You're coming in from the Facebook. Yvonne, you got to keep all them dark secrets in the closet.
No, share. We're all about transparency, Jesse. Come on now.
She says, congratulations. Can't wait to see what's coming. You have a great angel watching over you, Jen. Ooh, angels. I like it. All right, y'all keep it coming. Love you. Love that we're all celebrating together. I think that's super meaningful, and hopefully we build, or rather not hopefully, the intent is to build our muscle of celebrating our wins and celebrating each other without guilt. So let's keep them coming. So Jen, do we have a topic today? I don't really remember, because I forgot to send you the link for the live stream until like 7:33 ish.
So yes, so you and I, and again, a couple of things have happened since the last live stream, or on the last live stream and the Clubhouse after party. And then you and I have had a lot of conversations. And so a couple of things we want to be clear on, because we say this, but I don't know if we're really clear, is our plan is really not a plan. Like we take what you say, we take the conversations, we take the feedback, we take the social media interaction and the engagement and the things going on in our tribe. And that feeds our content and what we do on this show. So like, I want to be super clear with that our plan is like that we're going to have something, but it's not going to be something that Jesse and I sit in a room and we hammer out a calendar for 12 months. We literally go back, listen, watch the show, listen to the comments, go back and talk about the after party. And then that gives us what we're going to talk about next. Sometimes it's 3 months worth of content and we give it a theme. And then sometimes it's, hey, we really need we need to highlight this. And so this week came from some conversations in the Clubhouse after the show. with Hal and Steve and, and Buddy and some other people. And then we've had some significant things happen with people around us in the last couple of weeks. And so Jesse and I just kind of stopped, and we just really just shared and threw a bunch of stuff on the wall and just started sorting through, how is this happening? And how do we have all these amazing people around us? And how did we get where we are? And then what's next? And why do people keep showing up? Why do people keep, engaging with each other? And how do we keep doing these things? Like, how is it happening? And we came up with what we think, Adam's not gonna like, but the calculation is a cycle that is continually repeating. And it started, and then we're watching it. And each of you are probably gonna, as we go through it, go, "Oh, I'm right there," or "Yeah, I'm not there yet." But it's a cycle, and it keeps going, because Jesse and I found ourselves going through it and then going through it again. And so we're super excited to share, I think, what we found for this tribe. So it's just us saying, for the NoBStribe and for what we're doing, this is what we see happening, and we see the momentum, and we see what it's building, and we're excited about it, but like, we don't even know what that is. So please know, we don't have this all figured out yet. We're doing this with y'all together.
Yes, 100%. And what I remember specifically from the Clubhouse conversation, it was Kirby Coates, who now is an official person, and Mr. Hal Maycomer. We're kind of like, last conversation, we talked about the shift. We wrapped up the owning and identifying your impact, and talked about where we're going to be headed in terms of the conversation. And it's the shift of when we become vulnerable and open and transparent, we start changing as individuals, and what that feels like what it's felt like for me, and how people in my circle have responded to that. Because there's some, less than amazing, or maybe less than awesome outcomes of that. So anyways, we were talking about that, and they were like, okay, like it wasn't clear. Right? Like, what are y'all talking about?
What do you mean the shift? What do you mean? What's next? What do you mean? What's the plan? And we're like, this is the plan.
We have a plan. And so that was a valuable question for us to really think about. Okay, we need to better articulate that. And like Jen said, we dug around and said, okay, well, what's really happening? Because for me, it's a very simple thing that's happening. But I think because it's so simple, it looks really complicated and really fancy. And again, we couldn't like tease it apart, and through many conversations, we think we came up with something. And the reason, or rather the value, I think, in sharing it and articulating it in the way we're going to do today, is because anybody can do it, right? And I think if we frame it in very simple terms, that I'm looking forward to the ripples of impact it will have with the NoBStribe, and just looking at the four little elements and doing something with that. And
it came from, again, I want to emphasize, it came from this. Like, it was nothing that existed prior to us. What's happening here with this group, with these people, with this tribe? Like, this is where it was like we just honed in on what was happening. And then this is what we think is happening. It's really what we think. Yes.
So if that's not clear, I'm going to say it straight up. It does not happen. We do not see it or experience it without you.
Yes.
Without the NoBStribe, without the contributors. Y'all have created this experience. Like the bottom line, that's it. It doesn't happen without community. And I think that's what we have now, is we have some community. We're starting to see these kind of things just kind of bubble up, and it's want to double down.
And it's a cycle, like super clear. It's not a bell curve. It's not a spectrum. It's not a start stop. It's a continuous cycle.
Yes,
and it'll be clearer once we get through it.
There, we're gonna get there. So 2 comments. We got Amy offering some some remedies for the allergies. Right, try some olive leaf extract. We'll see how that works. We'll definitely make sure we schedule in some more tear-jerking moments as we continue into the future. And then Jamie's got a big old win to share with us. Jamie Knox says, I spoke up to leadership at work focusing on my strengths and passion. And at the first of the year, they created a totally new role from son of a gun. Yeah, girl.
Super win.
Woo-hoo! Shout out. Amy says that's amazing. Man, that yes, and yes. Okay, so should we jump into like the first letter in our
thing? So S, RRR was our T's, right?
Yes.
So, yes. And so we have to start with S. So Jesse, what is S? What do we have to do first?
So the first thing that we have to do is show up. Right? Man, that was perfectly timed. Damn, Adam, let's do that again. Is show up. And which sound like we're going to get, there's some depth there to discuss because it's something that you and I, we might even be able to call them our core values of No BS with Jen and Jess. And so one thing that we have done, simple thing, like probably the easiest thing, is just keep showing up at the same time. We show up every other Saturday at 8 a.m. and we come and talk. Like that's one simple thing. Now, the way we show up, I think, is the difference. And again, back to the community element, I would not show up this way had I not felt a connection and support with you, Jennifer.
Correct, 100%.
And I would and so what I mean by this way is I would be more guarded. I would be more, what's the word? The polish and the, the slideshow presentation. And today the KPIs are what? Like, I would do that because that's what I've been trained to do. And I think that's what many of us have been trained to do is let's get the PowerPoint. Let's talk at the PowerPoint. Let's toe the company line. Let's say all the right things. But because of you and because of the tribe, because of the community, I have the courage to show up and be vulnerable and be transparent and be silly and goofy and serious. Like I can be in this space. I can be all of me all the time. And there's a lot there. Like you and I've talked about this, Jen. There's so many people in my life that when I interact with them, their response is, Jesse, you're a lot. Like
I think that's why we connected, because I've gotten that multiple times. We're like, oh, that's a little too much. I'm like, okay.
Yes, absolutely. And, you've pointed out, you and Adam are like experts, not just you and Adam, Adam, Stephanie, Kim. There's a bunch of people out there that have like X-ray vision and they can see my deflection. They can see the little, smoke screens that I put up to hide different elements of me. So yeah, I'm a funny guy. But I'm not just a funny guy, right? I'm also kind of a super deep thinker, but I'm not just a super deep thinker. And here with this tribe, with everybody else, I can be all of those things. I prefer to be the funny, silly guy. But again, to the point on community, without this community, without this kind of support, I show up differently. How about you, Jen? Where are you with this show up idea?
Well, I'm going to tell you like the vulnerable. One, it's the space. When I say it's a safe space, and you touched on it, on how you show up here and how you feel you can show up here, and that you don't have to come with, I don't have to come with armor. I don't have to come with my shield. I don't have to come with those things. But I'm going to tell you flat out, the emotions and the rawness that we've talked about on this show, and that for me, I'm just a protective person. That's just by default. Like I just don't put my stuff out there for people, because when you do that, you could get hurt and stuff like that. So I just protect myself, and that's in general at work and interacting with relationships and things like that. And what we've created here and being here and feeling safe, but also like the spectrum of emotions that I'm not scared to show. Like you can ask my girls, like, I don't cry. Yet for whatever reason, it's captioned on video like multiple times on this show, but it's because I feel safe here. I don't feel like it's going to be used against me, or it's not something that's going to make me look weak. And like, that's what's happening here. Like, that's the stuff that you and I talked about that I can show up as me. I can show up as my unfiltered, raw, just trusting, I want that person that has been hidden away for a really long time.
Mm-hmm. That person that big personalities change the world. And also, y'all, if y'all don't know this, Jennifer Lacey is a pretty big deal. Tell us about that, Jen.
So, oh my gosh. So yesterday, this is funny. So I'm in my room, I'm getting things unpacked. And my daughter Alex is in her room talking to one of her little friends that's going to come over and visit today. And she's like, you need to go to YouTube and search up. And I hear her spelling No BS and she's spelling it. And she's like, you need to go look this up. And then you look up, my mom's name is this. And so her little friend goes, is your mom like famous? She's like, she's a pretty big deal. And I was just in my room, just like going, my heart's just like swelling, like, whoa, like for her to say that, that's like, that's huge. So anyway, it was like a mommy moment.
That's amazing. And so Herbert Reed tells us another one of those ingredients, right? Y'all show up with passion and energy. That's what brings us back. Thank you, Herbert. Like, there are many, many moments throughout every single day of my week that I kind of got to pinch myself and say, what is happening? Like, I can't believe I'm so grateful that y'all continue to come back and invest, share, sacrifice the time to hang out with us. So we're going to keep the passion and the energy, baby.
Yes.
Maria says same, right? She says, I'm not too much. I'm enough.
She's amazing. I got to spend time with her last week. Last week? No, not this past week, the week before. Got to spend a whole day with her and the entire accounting department. And it was, she's solid. Like she just got a promotion into a new role that got created for her. And she's changing the world. So she had some awesome posts this week, but Maria, you are more than enough. You're just amazing. Keep doing what you're doing.
Oh man, now we got some celebrations coming. Mr. Thomas LeMay, welcome back, Thomas. I know he was busy last time. Glad to see you here. We got some, just so y'all know, NoBStribe. Thomas and I got something cooking, and it's going to be coming out sooner than I expected because of that little shift that I made here recently. Jen, we got all love for Jen. Let's make Jen blush, y'all. Will says Jennifer's a huge deal. Sorry, Jesse. Love that story, man. No hate, all love, baby. What's the saying? All ships rise together.
Yes.
Right. Like that's what we're doing here. Jamie Knox, I concur. You are a big deal. Yes, ma'am. You know she is.
Yes.
And then, buddy, Alex is famous too.
Well, and she's going to be more famous because she did. So we have some homework today that we're going to post to y'all. But the homework came from something she did, and we are now going to pose it to y'all and then share what she did. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yes.
Yep. And so Maria says we are changing the world with that green heart. Yes. And you know what? I'm gonna share this with y'all. It is being recognized what all of us are contributing to. I got a note from one of our No BS members in Canada. And he mentioned, he's like, man, y'all keep doing what you're doing. And when I hear that, to me, that's not just you and I, Jen, or you, myself, and Hoots. It's the tribe. And people are talking about it. And people are recognizing the impact, the ripples of impact that are coming as a result of these conversations. And not just the conversations, the actions that y'all take when we go back out into our world. So let's keep doing it.
The other example, which is the email I got from the superintendent, which is huge. So like that was another, it just feeds off of what we're talking about. And again, you don't know it till you all of a sudden you put back in your face. You got an email from one of our superintendents, a very seasoned superintendent that I have a relationship with. And the tagline of the email is "You're famous." And I'm like, oh gosh. And he says, I listened to Jason Schroeder's podcast on the elevating construction. And I listened to it, and he says, my good friend and industry leader, Jennifer Lacey, and he said, I know her. And so he sends me this email about how just appreciating us, what we're doing within Robinson Morton, but also just what we're doing in the industry and how we're changing things and leading change and stuff. And so it was really cool just getting that, somebody just reaching out and just saying, hey, by the way, this is what I'm seeing. So that was cool.
Yes. And that's not the only thing, right? Like, yep, hashtag pretty big deal. Hashtag buy Jen's coffee mug. So word is that you've also been a contributor to a blog about culture.
Oh, the one that Adam kind of orchestrated.
Yep.
Yes. Well, the three of us did. Don't give me that credit. No, it's the three of us. It's like equal, like 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. So Jennifer was just one piece of it. But yes, for the Lean Construction blog, the three of us did a 3 blog series. Is that right? I believe so. Yes, on the Lean Construction blog, all about culture and the importance of culture. Yes,
loves the culture conversation.
And Adam was like the glue with the whole thing. So you see that, and really it's him deflecting. So just know that, like, he was the glue for that entire blog. Like I will give him that, Jesse. I don't know if you will, but he was the glue.
100%. He's driving it. He's fronting, straight up fronting with them little pukey faces. He's all about culture. It just comes out of his pores. All right, so show up.
Yes.
I feel like we did a pretty in-depth coverage or conversation around show up. That's the first thing. Yes. Be present, be fully available, be in the moment, and be every bit of you every time. That is what we're talking about when we're showing up. And again, this is the thing that we think we have discovered within what we've been doing here.
Okay, so after we show up, then what do we have to do?
Then we have to receive. Bam! Look at that. The timing, baby. Receive. I'm going to let you kick this one off, Jen, because I want to make sure that I get my head straight on it, because I can babble quite a bit.
Okay. So when we were talking about the importance of showing up, I think the receive part came from, we have people that show up. Y'all are here this morning, and we appreciate that. But it's not just people showing up and going, look at me, look at me, look at me. Oh my gosh, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. Oh, make sure that you make sure you come and see what I'm doing. And again, that's important too. You want to make sure you own it and you share those things. But what we've seen is our people show up and they are in an open position to be able to let whatever's out here come into them and change them and impact them. And then they leave different. They leave inspired. They leave excited about doing something that maybe they weren't doing before. And we can't do that unless we're open to receive those things, good, bad, and different. But when you receive, you risk getting hurt. You risk those things, falling, failing, doing things that are not going to go great. But you also receive all the goodness and all the amazing. I mean, like, I can't even bottle it up into every person that's commenting and that's adding and that's on the social media and that tags us and that gives us. I mean, Will gave us shout outs this week. I mean, like, Steve Martin gave us shout outs. We've got so much love, and that's just us, but I'm watching it, and they're on each other's and they're tagging each other and they're elevating each other. And we talk about the give, but we have to be open to receive it. And that is not everywhere. And we've noticed that it's here.
Yes. So we got a solid quote from Mr. Mike Kyman. He says, be more interested than interesting during receive.
Yes.
Yeah. Does that sum it up, Jen?
Yes, because you and I talk about that. It's the givers, it's the takers. And Jamie gave us that idea, and we'll hit that on another live stream at some point. But it's that, are you giving, are you taking? And then are you, like Mike said, are you interested or are you interesting? And if I'm interesting, I'm going to show up, and here's this and here's that, and shine the light on me and let me elevate myself. Like, we see a lot of that. But we also see people that are so engaged and so wanting to see what's going on with the other people around them. And to do that, you have to be willing to receive, because it's like this give and take. and you and I have experienced it a lot, and we talk about it a lot. But it's the point of we're going all over the place, talking, brainstorming, whatever, and there's never a point where it's like shut down. Like, that's stupid. That doesn't make sense. Whatever. Like, even there's times when we don't agree. There's still that, okay, I'm gonna hear it. I'm gonna let it come in, and then we're gonna talk about it. Oh yeah, I got there because of what you said. Or, hey, but I think this, and you're like, oh, and then we get there, but it's because we're willing to receive and not just guarded and got that armor on going, I know I'm right. You don't know what you're talking about. And we're just going to keep doing this until you see my way. That's not receiving.
Agreed. So I'm going to cheat. I'm going to break protocol here. Steve Martin just posted any Trekkies like Star Trek.
Yes. Deflector shields down.
Deflector shields down. And so confession time, as it relates to receiving, that is one of the methods that I would deflect. And what I mean specifically by that is showing up as I am the authority on the matter in the room. And so all I'm doing is puking all that knowledge and expertise that I have on whatever the subject is. And, there were, man, I can't even count how many trainings I've done, how many group sessions, meetings, brainstorming sessions, like all of those things that I came in there with. What was really happening is there was this like fear of being rejected, of my ideas or my thoughts being challenged, maybe not even rejected, just being challenged. So my tone was like, I know what I'm talking about. Now, what happens, the way that's received is you don't know what I'm talking about, right? And so I show up with my deflector shields on, trying to be the smartest person in the room, trying to be the authority figure on the matter. And people want to help. I think we're just naturally, we want to have connection. How do we connect? We connect by helping. And if I don't give space for people to contribute to me, to breathe life into me, to help me, there's no connection. Like, bottom line, there is no connection. So if I'm not equipped mentally, emotionally, and I like, for real, it is an emotional thing. There is risk in receiving, because for me anyways, when I receive, I'm going to have a natural reaction to appreciate that and like that and want more of whatever that is.
Absolutely.
Right. Now, the source of that is another human being.
Yes.
Right. And I got to trust that human being is not wicked, and also is not going to disappear or abandon me. Because
Which could happen. Right.
Yes. I have major abandonment issues. And again, I've been in that space where I know everything, right? Like, look at me, wah, wah, wah. And that's the deflector shields, and it doesn't allow me to receive what people are pouring into me. Now, as that relates to us and what we've been doing, our early conversations around 5S in relationships, I had an idea. I had all the content, right? Like, once you and I started talking, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go out on a limb with this human being because she's pretty damn amazing, and we're just going to go there. And we kept going, and I'm going to use this as kind of an example of what can come of this SRRR, right? Show up and receive, and the next two R's. Had I come into that initiative with my old thinking, kind of show up marginally and not very defensive, not receiving, it would have been 5 live streams done and over.
And I probably would hate you right now.
Yes, probably. But what it's turned into is this movement that we're transforming the industry. Like, I'm just going to take ownership of or claim that right now with the NoBStribe. Yes. And we're not just transforming one industry. We're transforming all industries. Like, that's what we're here about. A book, a community. Like, there's all of these things that are coming as a result of not being defensive, of being vulnerable, of being transparent, of being exposed, like with my clothes on, chill out, You got to
No
pay extra for
fishnets.
that. No fishnets. So again, bottom line, you got to be ready to receive. And something that we'll be talking as we build out on this going forward, it helped me become more aware of the type of energy that feeds into me, or rather, more importantly, that doesn't detract from me. And so there are people in my space that are the authority all the time. And I love them. They bring tremendous value. But I've got to manage the amount of my time that I expose,
because they drain you.
Because it sucks the life out of me, and really didn't understand why until you and I started having this conversation. I was like, now I know why. It's because I can't give back. So I've got to throttle all of that back to get bombarded with all of their expertise. And at the end of the conversation, I'm like, ooh, baby, like I'm tired. And I felt useless because I was not allowed to contribute to the conversation or the effort at hand. What do you think, Jen?
Yes. So I love that. So and Maria will hopefully remember this. So one thing that I think about when we talk about receive is and you just spoke to coming in the room, and I have all the expertise, I have the knowledge, I'm sharing it. And I asked this question to her group when we were working a couple weeks ago. I said, when I'm in the front of the room and I'm speaking, what point of view is the only point of view that I can speak from? Mine. That's it. When I'm speaking, the only thing I can speak from is what's coming from my head. But as soon as I shut up and then I let going on and I let everything around me happen, I'm able to receive. You cannot receive as you're speaking and as you're talking and as you're the person that's doing all that. You can't. You just can't. So if you just stop, even if you throw something out there and just stop, then you're in a place where you are allowing yourself to receive.
Yes. Yes. And Herbert dropping bombs, right? That's why we have one mouth and two ears so that we can receive.
Yes.
And so if you're like early, yeah, shout out, fist bumps to Herbert Reed. If you're early in your efforts to become a better receiver, a simple tactic or a measurable way to figure this out, a scientifically measurable way to do this is track the airtime. And when I say airtime, it's just like right now, I'm moving my mouth, I'm taking up the airtime. And so when you're in conversations with other human beings, think about how much time you are making noise with your mouth, just your mouth, not the rest of your body, and how much time you're giving space for other people to make noise with their mouth. Super simple. You may discover that you are not receiving because you're always flapping your gums. Then Yesenia says, living in the present moment, to really take it all in is a change in mindset. 100%. And Yesenia was absolutely living in the present moment when she was up on stage with us a couple conversations ago. So thank you for that, Yesenia. It was super powerful. And then Steve Martin backing her up, right? Says, yes, Yesenia, mindset is so important. We live on autopilot. Oh my goodness. So let's talk about autopilot.
Go for it.
So we've all, and this is in the culture blog that Hoots put together, right? Is every organization has culture. Period. Some cultures are less than amazing and some cultures are super amazing. And so it's a matter of intent. Now, before the intent, it's a matter of awareness. And so back to Steve's comment on autopilot, I've been for most of my life, and I'm going to just go out on a limb here and say everybody else is or has been also. We're on autopilot. So we're dealing with life. We've learned how to cope with all the different stuff that we're dealing with just through experience, right? We had a bad thing, then we protect ourselves. We had a good thing, we do more of that. Very simple. And we continue to show up that way, just on autopilot. And we continue to experience life in the same degree that we have been experiencing. We continue to contribute in the same degree that we have been contributing. And in many cases, that's not bad. Like in many cases,
It's
it is
comfortable. It's
it's
comfortable.
yes.
Comfortable. I feel safe. I don't have to worry about getting hurt. I don't have to worry about doing anything other than exactly what's expected of me.
Yes. And on the other side of the comfort is being aware. How much airtime do I take? Right? Like again, it may not be um, on purpose. You may be just accidentally taking up all the time and not giving people time to talk. But now you know, so practice that, right?
And I've realized, go, finish your thought. Then I'll go.
No, it's it. Now that you know, and so maybe that's the challenge to the No BS tribe. Go out and test that. Are you giving other people space to talk, or are you doing all the talking?
And just before we move on, and be even more aware, because I've realized too that when people take over a platform or they take over the opportunity to speak and share, sometimes it's because they're not ever given that opportunity. And it can look like it's about them and it's about what that they want the light, but it's just because they're not in a safe place where they're able to share, they're able to talk, and as soon as they get an opportunity, they just monopolize it. And so again, be aware of that and ask the questions and engage to make sure you understand what's going on. And it's not just someone trying to own it and trying to take it. It could be someone that needs that more, and what other opportunities are out there for them to be able to have some conversations instead of just kind of on their soapbox.
Yes, 100%. And Nirkash, thank you, my man, says track the airtime. It's going to improve your listening skills. It will. It it may be a little embarrassing. I know it was for me when I started doing that. And so Hoots shares the link, and he's looking for some feedback, y'all. And we love that feedback. So I know we can count on the No BS tribe to bring it. The link to that blog is it's in the chat, and he says hashtag culture vulture, which of course came from the marketing guru, Steve Martin. Oh, okay. So we've talked about show up.
Yes.
We've talked about receive, which
the next one is what started this whole conversation.
Yes. And it's, a lot of people out there know that it's kind of like my most favorite experience in the world. And I don't know, I'm just a lucky guy, because everywhere I go, I've traveled a lot over the past few years. Everywhere I go, I happen to have like the most amazing, beautiful mirrors in my space. They just seem to follow me around everywhere. And so the next R is reflect, right? We talked about show up. We talked about receive. Adam Hoots is in the back saying, man, I love that comment about them mirrors. He's digging it big time. And now we're going to talk about reflect. The comment about the mirrors is kind of me being silly. But when you look at a mirror, into a mirror, we see what's going on, right? We can see my highlights are getting thicker. We can see that I'm wearing the Bring Back the Trades hoodie here. I can see there's data points, there's information telling me what I can do or what I should do to show up and represent the way I really want to show up and represent. Now, as it relates to our conversation, Jen, when we had those challenging questions from Kirby and Hal, that dove us into a very deep reflection cycle. And how did that feel for you, Jen? Like, how did that come about?
I think it made us have to stop, and like we've just been going, and again, that's what we do. We just go, and then we try it. And that's Jesse's method that I'm learning, and it's helping. But it's like, go do it, try it, fail, get up, try it again. PDCA, whatever that looks like. But we're just going, and we're trying to figure it out as we go. And I think in our minds, okay, this is working, but we're not really communicating a lot of it, or we haven't communicated a lot of it. So for us, we had to stop and go, okay, we get it. And we're the ones that have to show up and like have the conversation. But we had to turn it inward a little bit and go, okay, what can we do better? And what are we not doing? even though we're a lot of momentum, a lot of amazing things happening, we still felt like there were gaps. And that caused us to have to stop and go, okay, maybe we are not communicating these things. And how can we go and meet our tribe where they are and make sure that we're not just, floating and going and not thinking about everybody else around us.
Yeah. Well, and full disclosure, give the No BS tribe some behind the scenes information. Every single time we do our live streams, and then we have the after party. And after that, sometimes it's directly after that, sometimes maybe a couple hours into Saturday, Jen and I jump on the phone and it's just like, oh my God.
What just happened?
Amazing.
Like, what just happened?
What is happening? What is going on around us? How are we feeling about it? How is it impacting us? What did we do that contributed to that? Man, that comment that so-and-so said, really, like, we got to build on that. So that's really the reflection piece. One, it kind of starts from, for me anyways, it starts from this immense flood of emotion from having interacted with the No BS tribe and incorporating your comments. Because if you can't tell, without y'all's comments, this conversation kind of becomes pretty damn flat. And saying, oh, that's something we need to go after deeper. What did you think about that? Well, it made, and it's probably 30 minutes of celebratory, oh my goodness, this is amazing. What are we doing? We got to keep doing this. This feels so great. Are we crazy? No, we're not crazy. If we are, there's a bunch of us that are crazy together. And then it's like, okay, let's get into like what really happened. What did people say? How, again, gauging the degree of vulnerability that the No BS tribe is demonstrating in the chat. Like, that still blows my mind. In the chat live, where everybody can see your comments, people are sharing very intimate things. And so then reflecting on that signal to us that we need to be responsible with that. And what does that mean? That means we got to keep showing up, because we've opened up this can of worms, and it feels like there's this space now that people have access to that is valuable to them. So we can't be lazy and just not do it. We got to keep doing, and we got to continue working to deliver the value that you all are seeking. And again, it gets into what did Hal say? What did Kirby say? What was that comment? What was the timing of that? How did all these things come together to say, okay, one, we're not failing, we're still doing good. And yes. Two, how do we continue to maintain that cycle going forward? How am I feeling? One of the things, Jen, and you and I've talked about this, one of the things I've learned, historically, I've had a practice of scheduling some buffer time, if you will, after I know I'm going to have like a really big event. Like last week, we had the construction career day here in San Antonio with TCCI. And I knew, because that was a lot of planning and a lot of things. The Rockstar committee, they killed it, like totally killed, did phenomenal. I knew that I was going to crash after that, right? Like an energy crash, just from trying to maintain my composure and not lose my mind. So I've designed buffers into my operating system so that I can recover from those kinds of things. But now that we're in this space, it's a whole new experience, like a whole new, I should say, existence, because there's this enormous level of awareness for me that continues to grow because of these conversations, because of the tribe, and enormous flood of like just really beautiful, good, amazing outcomes that also impact me. Not in a negative way, but there is an energy draw. And the image that comes to mind is I need to have process time to like come to terms with what all that amazingness is, and give myself permission to like embrace it and own it, right? Own the impact. Yes. And I haven't been doing that. And so what that's like is I'm walking with the push broom, and I have all this amazing good stuff that I'm just pushing, and it's turning into this big giant pile that I can't see past anymore. And now it gets a little like, oh, I got these things to process. So now I've incorporated some process time around that. And it's been mentally beneficial. I'm very new at it, but it's helping out quite a bit. We got a comment from Thomas. He says, in our work group, as an agenda item, we share moments of gratitude, 10-4. And if it's your first meeting or you haven't shared lately, you have to share.
First rule about Fight Club. I love it.
Yeah. First rule about Fight Club, 10-4. And again, that's a system. That's something that he put into place to facilitate that contribution, that connection. James says, yes, our leadership team does the same thing. We call it good things. Same idea on the agenda. I think the operative term there is on the agenda. Get it, or else it ain't going to happen. And we got nothing but love coming back and forth. Thomas says, James Gable, heck yeah, we designed that agenda to relieve negative tension. Try being angry after hearing about what we like about each other. 10-4. So we got Amy.
Yes.
That posed the question. She says, Jennifer, speak about the
difference. No, that says Jesse. That says Jesse.
Speak about the difference between looking in the mirror in a steamy bathroom versus a clear mirror in another bathroom. Okay, we're almost out of time here. No, that's a beautiful question. Now, is that the way that lands with me is I now, let's say the last year and a half, maybe, my mirror is no longer steamy. And so what I mean by that is I now understand the way that I want to serve and the way that I serve best. And when I direct my mind, my energies, my focus to serve in that manner, to the degree that people will allow me to serve, everything is crystal clear and there are no mistakes. Now, that's a clear mirror. When I have the foggy mirror, it's fogged up with expectations of other people. It's fogged up with assumed expectations that I impose on myself. Like most of the pressure I experience in my life and that I've experienced since then are the self-imposed expectations. I set a goal that nobody really cares about. I mean, Jen, you and I live in, and a lot of us here live in the same space that we're in creative roles, right? We come into an organization and we're driven to create something that is not yet defined. And it's funny because people will ask, and I've seen it a bunch of times over maybe the past 8 years or so. We want you to do this. Cool. There's no map for it. Right? There's no, and by the way, we need you to show what the data that proves that it's a good thing. It's like, okay, so you want me to create this thing that doesn't exist, and you want me to provide data that does for something that doesn't exist. No problem. Let's do that. Now, in creation, we don't know what the timeline is. Nobody knows what the timeline is. And what I end up doing is putting this pressure on me that by this date, I'm going to be at this point. And the next date, I'm going to be at that point, and so on. And so this imposes pressure upon me. And then I start getting in a rush to deliver measurable stuff. And it becomes this really stinky, funky, just nasty thing that was not like totally defeats the purpose and misses the ask. That is the foggy mirror, because the data input, the things that I'm making decisions on are convoluted. They're not clear. But once I got clear, the decisions I make are in the right direction every time. And when they're not, that learning cycle around, ooh, bad move is super rapid. What do you think, Jen?
So I want to make 2 points before we move on, because I know we're getting close. So for reflect, the biggest thing we need to think about is to reflect. We have to turn it to self. And we've had some conversations with Adam over the last couple of weeks just about that time that you take. And for you, it's coffee time in the morning. You take that time where it's dedicated time, it's intentional time. And so when we talk about reflect, I want to be so clear that in this cycle, showing up, receiving, and being intentional about the time that you're reflecting. It's not just okay, I've reflected on this, now I'm moving on. It's like, what are you doing to intentionally reflect on what you've received, what's going on around you, how do you feel physically, mentally, spiritually, every possible thing that goes on inside of you. Reflect on all of those things, because sometimes you're thinking about work and you're reflecting on work. That we've talked about that. It affects you physically, it affects you mentally, it affects you spiritually, it affects a lot of things that maybe aren't work driven. And so that reflection time allows us to look at all of those things, because all of those things play into things inside work and outside work. And so that piece, what are you doing to intentionally reflect? And for you, Jesse, I know you're pushing me, and you're making this one's the hardest one out of all of them for me. Like, a lot of these are just no brainers. I can show up that way and they don't take effort. This one takes so much effort for me, because I have to stop and make it about me. And for you, I mean, like we talked about, like Jennifer, just like allow yourself 10 minutes to just be somewhere and just staring at the clouds, or allow yourself to be just 10 minutes and not be, thinking. I mean, like, and it's hard for me because I want to keep wanting to do stuff. And so this one's super hard, but it has to be intentional, and it has to be not about anything else, but how is it impacting you? And what do you, and then from that, what are we going to do next? Like, that's the next one we're talking about, but that's so huge. So please, that may be a homework assignment somewhere in the future, but what are you doing to intentionally reflect? How do you do that? Jesse, I know, does journaling, and we've talked about that a little bit. For me, it's just being able to sit still for 10 minutes. Like, but what are you doing to intentionally just take that time to reflect on what's going on around you, and then how are you going to take that next step forward?
Yes. And to be clear on the journaling thing, it used to be a random practice, just kind of here and when. Now it's an hour a day, every day. And, I'm probably 5 out of 7 days every week. But because of the shift that's coming, it's going to be every single day. So we'll see how that comes. Steve Martin says, he's threatening / promising upcoming post on reflection versus deep reflection. Ooh, I like it. And what makes the No BS tribe unique and special. Hashtag No BS marketing teas, of course.
Okay, but I want to give Steve, can we give Steve, like, so just so you know, like, Steve's title has changed a little bit. So he is our No BS Chief Marketeer. So that is his title. So anything that happens going forward, there may be other people out there, but that is his title now. Like, he just got like promoted.
Official promotion. And you get paid in hugs. That's how we pay.
Yes.
I love it. Okay. So we got 13 minutes. That takes us to the last and final R, which I think is, for me, the big discovery. So that R is reciprocate. So we've talked about show up. We talked about receive. We talked about reflect. And now it's reciprocate. And in simple terms, that's put it back out into the world. Right. And I've said it a couple of times. The feeling, maybe, is it the feeling? The state that I'm in when I'm interacting with you, Jen, when the three of us, me, you, and Adam, are on our early morning calls, it feels like reciprocal propulsion, right? Like, I pour into you, that gets you moving. You pour back into me, that gets me moving. And we continue to do that. And we're just propelling each other forward into this state of existence that is, one, unbelievable, and two,
unknown.
It's unknown. We don't exactly know where it's going. And it's impactful, right? The ripples of impact, the No BS tribe. And so we zoom out from just you and I. There's me, you, and Adam. That's the No BS tribe. It's Steve Martin. It's Will. It's Buddy. It's Amy. It's everybody that you guys know, all folks out there in the Omniverse. Every comment that you give us, every like, every recommendation, share that y'all do, that is pouring into us and keeps us going forward. So as it relates to the reflection that we had around this cycle, is we knew we were showing up. We talked about that way back in the day. Receiving, that's, we were able to talk about that specifically here in the recent past. Reflect, I'm good at it. Jen and I are working on that, her getting better on the reflect segment. But the reciprocate thing was exactly what we're doing here. We have the conversation. We open up, we engage, y'all pour into us, y'all keep this thing alive. Whatever we take, however that affects us and changes the way I think and changes the way I feel and believe, because that's what's happening. Y'all are changing the way I think, the way I feel, and the way I believe. And I am compelled to take that forward and reciprocate that and put it back out there. And that's what happens. That's what Jen and I are doing. That's how we got here, is by showing up, receiving, reflecting, and then reciprocating everything, all the gifts and love that you pour into us. We just kind of consume that, digest it, and boom, let's go give that thing back. And it keeps happening. Like, I don't know any other way to describe it, Jen.
No, and again, I'm getting emotional only because the reciprocate piece is huge, because it feeds into how you show up. So it's like, and it's a big deal to me, because I've seen over the last 6 to 8 months in our conversations, and all the love and all the just support and all the care and compassion that is out there with the people in this tribe. It's changing the way I show up. And so again, it's like, not that I'm going backwards to show up. I'm now, from reciprocate, going forward to show up. And so it's that cycle of, by going through those things every time, it's going to change how you show up every time. And it's going to be a little change here, a little change there, a little different way that you approach things, or a different way that you tackle things. You're going to show up differently because of this cycle.
And that beautiful segue, just like we scripted it, that is exactly what the future conversations are going to be about, is how there's a bunch of people out there that you don't know quite yet, but you're going to be up on stage with me on the next one, because Jen is going to be changing the world in Florida. Is that correct?
Yes. So again, in 2 weeks, our company is doing a huge event, and it's like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday event that I will be engulfed in that. So I'm going to try, Maria doesn't know this yet, but she and I may like pop in, try to just do a little real quick
YouTube, a TikTok dance.
She doesn't know that either, so no. But we're going to try to at least pop in and say hi. But Jesse's going to have a guest host to help him in 2 weeks with whatever we're talking about next. But yes, so there's that. I'm not going to be there for that, but we are. Yes, my brain's just.
Yes, you're good. And so that conversation is going to be multiple hosts. Again, you don't know it yet, but it may be you. Talking kind of like Jen talked about, and how she has showed up differently, and she's in reflecting, realizing how and why. And there's a bunch of people out there. It was celebrated today in the wins. There's a bunch of the NoBStribe members that are having the same experience. One of them may be a market expert that's going to be up here. Again, talking about the impact that this has had and how they're coping with it, and what their experience is around that. And then that's going to feed into the next one. So again, like straight up, we know what the next step is. The next step is we're going to have a conversation with some guest hosts, and we're going to talk about their experience in terms of showing up differently, and maybe examining this cycle a little bit with them. And after we do that, that is going to reveal what the next show is going to be.
Yes.
And I think it's really important. It's really important to me that all the NoBStribe members out there trust that. That is exactly what we have been doing this whole time. And the reason I want you to trust that is because you can do the same thing in your life. It's freeing. It is liberating. For me, it has freed me from the shackles and the handcuffs of having to know all the steps for the next 10 years. And what are the outcomes? And what are the KPIs? Is there going to be a return on my investment? All of this garbage that all it did was hold me back. And so now I'm in a practice of All I need to know is what that one next step is. And it kind of shows a little bit, kind of foggy vision of what the second step is. If I can see that and it's in alignment with my purpose and the way I want to serve, I got to take that step and trust that the rest of it is going to play itself out with everybody else contributing to what the next rightest, not the next right thing, the rightest thing to do. So there is a little bit of filtering there.
Yeah. So before you give homework, I want to, I guess, ask the tribe. I want you to think about a couple of things. One is we talk a lot about trust, vulnerability, and transparency. And those are things that Jesse and I try to show up with every time. And our tribe has shown up with, and that is why we're as magic as we are. But there's a friend of mine that Jen Newman, and if you don't know her, go find her on LinkedIn because she's amazing and she's a leader and she's a speaker. And she had a post this week, and she's not a tribe member yet, but hopefully this will get her in here and listening. But she had a post, and it's very, very vulnerable. She's going through cancer. She's fighting cancer right now. And she put a post out there, her shirt talks about cancer sucks and, how she's dealing with it. And then just her post was about that. And it just made me realize there's so many people out there right now that we know that are in our lives that could possibly be a part of this, and it could help them with this cycle. It could help them in what they're doing and the things they're dealing with. All of us have our personal things that we're dealing with. Our health issues. There's just so many little things that we're all dealing with. And this tribe is powerful, like powerful to the point of, just changing lives, like connecting people to other companies and, just the support we have, with our personal issues and things like that. And just people showing up just to be there and help. And I know, people that maybe aren't here yet, or maybe you go, ooh, this person could really benefit from this. Think about that. Whether you tag them or you let them know about it. Again, for us, you can ask Jesse, our goal is to have one more person, like just one. And it started with, we want to impact one person. So it's not about the numbers for us. And it never will be about the numbers, but it is about this tribe. And as it's growing, we are changing the world and we are impacting more and more things because of the people that are here. So just think about that. And if there's a person that, hey, send them an invite, ask them, hey, you should go watch this video just to see, is it something that can help them? Because that's all, again, that's our goal. That's all we want to do. So just
agreed. So we're going to flash the homework. Y'all have been like on spring break. Y'all haven't had any homework in a long time, but here it is. And this is inspired by the famous lady's famous daughter, Miss Alex. Homework is, how would someone draw your true nature? Not how would you draw? How would somebody draw your true nature? And Alex did a beautiful portrait of Jen, myself, and Adam. And like, she captured it. I'm going to say she captured it.
And it may be shared in the next couple of weeks on social media.
You may see it in a post out there. Keep an eye out for that.
Where this came from, Jesse, is I was talking to Kyle Davis, who I work with and is a really good friend of mine. And he had listened to a video or had read something. I don't remember what it was from, but he said, Jennifer, as soon as I got done, I thought about you and Jesse and what y'all are doing and what y'all are creating. And he said, and the focus was, who are you? When you stop and you ask yourself that question, who are you? What attributes do you want to have as a person? And he said that was part of the, his thinking, and that was part of what he was, what he took away from it. And then another piece of it was, if someone was doing a painting of you, what would they draw to show your true nature? And that's where the conversation came from. You and I talked about it. We talked about it with Adam, and I was talking about it with Alex, which was crazy. And then she ended up drawing a picture of the three of us. And so so we thought that'd be a great thing what would somebody draw? If you ask somebody, draw me, what would it be? This, your big smile, your eyes, your hair, your personality, whatever it is, what is your true nature from someone else's perspective?
Ooh, that's a little scary. I like it. So we got tons. We got all kinds of love coming up. 14. We got 1 minute to go before the Clubhouse after party. The link to the Clubhouse after party is in all the socials. It's super easy. If y'all want to come in, ask questions, jump in the conversation, we can all talk. If you just want to listen, please do that also. Amy, again, reciprocal equals exchanging the breath of life. Like, gee, that's pretty damn deep. Nirkash showing love. He says he appreciates the way we put this out in the world with so much love. Likewise, Nirkash. That's what we're here for. And Steve Martin says the SRRRRR cycle. Let it fly. Let's get dizzy together. Jen, closing thought?
One, it's Holy Week. And so lots of things going on this week leading up to Easter tomorrow. So I got to see Adam's stuff on there. And so just a lot of reflection and a lot of things to be thankful for, to be grateful for. One, I'm so grateful for every single person here, but prayers. I just know there's a lot going on, whether it's, outside of our country or even in our houses or in our friendships and in our works and stuff. And so for me, it's just, if we can lift people up in prayer and we can lift them up and really give them love, and give Adam a little extra. He's healing right now, but just if you can give him a little extra prayer, shoot him some love over there. I know we're lifting him up a lot, and just I just want to say thank you to everybody, and I hope you have an amazing Easter tomorrow.
Easter bunny. And if y'all got any leftover barbecue deviled eggs, send them my way, baby. I'll be eating that for you. Thomas, love you, my man. Good to see you back. Says, dude, it just got dusty in here. I think we talked about olive leaves or something earlier that might help with the allergies. Love y'all. Thank you again. I'm grateful for the time that you put in with us this morning. And I'm looking forward to hear some new voices today on the Clubhouse after party. With that, we will say peace.
Bye.